Hello, everyone. Welcome and happy Wednesday. So happy you are here joining us either live or as a recording later down the line. Today, in this world where we honor the written word to the highest degree, these conversations are intended to honor our ancestors who have shared wisdom through storytelling, through being in community. This is really a space for all of us learners that learn by doing, by listening, and by visualizing. So welcome. Thank you for coming to Wisdom Wednesdays. This is a LinkedIn series where we have nurturing conversations with social justice and social impact leaders who are also in pursuit to figure out how to do the work we love, how to pursue our passions and create the impact we want to see in our community while also preserving our well-being, because if we don't take care of ourselves, we can't do any of this work, right? So we hope this conversation allows you to connect and maybe create a new perspective on how you're doing your work so you can continue to take care of yourself. I am Manuela Contreras. If you don't know me, I am the founder and chief inspiration officer of Confuerza Experiences, and as a consultant, as a coach, and as an alignment strategist, I support small businesses and leaders just as yourself on how to be more thoughtful and intentional about how we do the work so we can continue to do this work for a long time. I am a Latina woman with caramel skin, brown wavy hair, and brown eyes. And today I'm wearing my white t-shirt that says, "Together we all say Págame, hashtag Latina Equal Pay Day," which I will talk about later. I'm wearing my pink headset and my brown glasses, and I am standing in front of a cream Zoom background with a eucalyptus branch on the left and the logo, the Confuerza logo on the right with the hashtag Wisdom Wednesdays. As you get settled into our space, you will notice in the comment section below a few reminders on how to engage with us and how to be fully present here today. If you have any questions, feel free to let us know in the comments. All right, so before we get started into our conversation, I like to do something a little different for all of our conversations. As a lot of you who have been joining us have known, my intention really has been about getting to know more about how burnout, trauma, and toxic work environments affect our body. And what I have found is somatic work, which is the study and the practice of connecting not only to our mind, but connecting to our body, is really supportive and has helped me. So I like introducing a practice every call, every one of these conversations that maybe you can bring back to your morning routine, to your pre-meeting jitters, or to your whatever environment that you want to support yourself in. So if you want to join me in this routine, this is going to be a little bit fun. Today, you'll notice I'm standing, so that's also my way of being fully present here, engaging my body in a different way. So I want to do a fun exercise that you can do maybe before you're getting into an important meeting, or maybe you're just feeling a little bit nervous that day. I've done this on the way to the elevator, maybe on the way up. You don't need to maybe, think about it too much or really have a whole space, but it's really just about regrounding into yourself. So as you join me in today, we first always like to start, which is grounding our body, either if you're sitting, standing, whatever feels the most comfortable. We're going to focus a moment in on our breath. So breathing in through our nose and releasing through our mouth. And again, breathing in through our nose and releasing through our mouth. And notice just those deep breaths as you continue to do these deep breaths, how they begin to calm your body down. And what I like to do is think about what is it and who is it that I want to be today. And really imagine that word. Maybe it's today I want to be strong. Today I want to protect my peace. Today I want to connect to my wisdom. Today I want to trust myself. Say one word or phrase that you want to embody today. Think about that. Really feel the presence of that in our body. And then take a deep breath in through your nose, out through your mouth. And now you're going to step forward and imagine yourself stepping into that embodiment, stepping into that phrase, stepping into that word, stepping into that sense of being that you want to take on today. Imagine yourself being that now. And as you reground yourself back into your body, begin to wiggle your toes, move your legs, and move your body. And continue to step forward and move forward. You are now standing in that person and becoming that person. Now bow your head down if your eyes were closed, and slowly begin to open them. So you're the first thing that you see as you enter our space together. And so this is a really easy, small routine or practice that you can do. As I said, if maybe you're in the elevator and you get those nervous jitters and you're on your way up to a meeting, literally, even if you don't want to close your eyes, but just taking a few breaths right before that meeting, seeing it, feeling it, and then physically stepping into that as you're walking into the meeting, and you feel that confidence of who that is that you want to see for yourself, and making that intention of deciding who you want to be, if that's for that day, for that meeting, and or for the week, for a lifetime. That's your choice. That's the best part of this work. So there's a little practice. Hopefully it allowed you to get settled into our space today. And then let me know. I'd always love to hear if it's always supportive. All right, my friends. So welcome back. I'm excited. Today is going to be a very special conversation. You know, in our conversations, as you have seen, we've had a lot of conversations around well-being. Well-being is our center point for all our Wisdom Wednesday conversations. And a lot of times when we think about well-being, we've talked about, you know, culture, we've talked about our physical, our body, but something that continues to come up that I don't think we talk enough about is our financial well-being, our how financial health is fundamental to our well-being. And I know a lot of us that have talked about how we continue to find that security. It really does it begins as well with our financial security, to make sure that when we have the freedom to do what we want to do, we feel secure in our own body, in our own life, in order to be able to do that. So the reason why I've been really excited to bring someone on to talk about financial health is because that is something that I wanted to make sure we were clear about. Well-being just isn't about the mental health, our emotional health, our physical health, or our spiritual health. It's as well as our financial health. So today we're going to dive into that. And before we jump into that, as you notice, I am wearing today my Págame Latina Equal Pay Day shirt. And I wanted to share briefly, again, why I thought this conversation was really important to social justice and social impact work. Maybe some of you already know what Equal Pay Day is, but Equal Pay Day really started as a movement to be able to demonstrate the pay gap between the different race and genders across, mostly within the US. I'll be sharing a link to our resource library so you can see the specific statistics. But what I found as a visual learner, the payday days were really, really interesting to me, because the idea of it is that from the first day of the year, as someone, traditionally a white male, that gets the most amount of pay, every one of the equal pay days, that is the amount of days that it takes to be able to make that much as the first day of the year. And so as we can see, and I can just briefly actually share my screen. I'm going to quickly do that. You can see here how an Asian woman that makes the 99 cents, then there's the overall woman that makes it 84 cents to the dollar, a Black woman that makes 69 cents to the dollar, and then Pacific Islander, Native Hawaiian woman makes 66 cents, Native American woman makes 59 cents, and then the Latinx and Hispanic woman makes 57 cents to the dollar. And so every day, every year, you'll see here are the different paydays. And so for all women, that was March 12th. For Latinas, that was October 3rd. And that is coming up. And so it just gives you a visual representation when you are that far along in the year to say, wow, I have had to work this much longer to be able to make the same amount as my white counterparts in these scenarios. And so it is so fundamental why this is so important, because not only is it to acknowledge how we build our financial security as our individual responsibilities and what we can do, but as always in these conversations, we always talk about the systemic and different systemic oppressive systems that are also making it harder for that. And we always acknowledge that. So we wanted to share a little bit that. I was excited to wear my shirt too. And you'll see the link to this shirt and other resources for Equal Pay Day as well in the resources if you want to support the movement there. But I'm excited to get us started and welcome Shannon. Shannon, thank you so much. I'm so excited to bring you on. Your specialty, especially connecting to the nonprofit sector and the social sector and supporting leaders on creating a more prosperous future for themselves. I'm excited for you to share your wisdom. So welcome, and please share a little bit about yourself and your journey.
Well, thank you so much for having me here. And I love that visual representation. That was so great. And I'm super jealous that I don't have the shirt to wear today as well. So I'll introduce myself. So I'm Shannon Bowen. So I'm a Chief Advancement Officer for a nonprofit in Seattle. And then I also am CEO of Monsoon Leadership, which is my company that helps people land their dream job and dream salary. So I'm a job search expert, career advancement coach, and salary whisperer. And so let me describe myself. So I am a white woman with curly blonde hair, green glasses, and a jean jacket and earrings that sometimes people say look like butter cookies. And my background has a lot going on it. There's green paint, there's tropical wallpaper, there's framed art and plants because I love to design stuff. So I'm super excited to be here. And my journey really was very organic. So I had worked to increase my salary as a nonprofit leader over the years. And then I started helping my friends with it. And they said, you gotta start teaching this. You can't just save this for just us. And so that's why I created Monsoon Leadership. And that's why I started coaching and I started training people on there are real techniques to ask for a promotion and raise and to land a top salary at a new job. And so I'm just here to empower everyone that yes, you can make prosperous wages in nonprofit careers and you deserve that amount that you think you need right now. You deserve it. And so that's what I'm here to do.
Yes, thank you. Thank you. And sometimes those are the best types of journeys. You know, you weren't searching for it, it found you.
That's right.
And that's what makes you just such a natural in being able to do this work. So thank you so much. I'm so excited you're here. You shared a little bit about your journey, but I would love to know a little bit about how well-being and maybe even financial health, you know, given our topic of conversation, like how has that played a role in your professional and personal journey? And what does well-being really mean to you?
Absolutely. And I love that we're talking about this because I think we don't really think about financial and well-being together, but it's a core component of your life. And so I spent most of my career in the San Francisco Bay Area, AKA one of the most expensive places ever. And the moment I made $80,000, I could breathe. I could pay my bills and I could breathe. And that's wild that it took that much money to get there. But that's when I was like, whoa, money is super important. We like to say, you know, if you love your job, you never work a day in your life, or I'm not here to do it for the money. But guess what? You really need it. And there's a lot of sacrifice language in nonprofits, and also this idea that you can't say, hey, I have a really expensive phase of my life right now. I'm trying to buy a house. I'm trying to start a family. I'm trying to take care of an elderly parent, or I want to take that dream vacation while my body can do it. You know, and I want people to take away that shame and secrecy and just say, it's okay to need more money at this time. And we're going to help you find the job that can actually fuel what you need to do in your life. Because when you get that disconnect, it does impact your well-being. and impacts your feeling of self-worth and confidence, and also increases anxiety and depression because you're struggling. You're struggling to do whatever it is that money is fueling in your life right now. We just can't live our lives without income. And so I just want to help people get the income they need to be their best selves at this point in their life.
Absolutely. Wow. I really love that. So that's why I chose to talk about alignment, like why I talk to myself. I mean, I titled myself an alignment coach because that being able to really be clear about your values, your goals, that helps you so much in this alignment because you can be in integrity with yourself, right?
Yes.
And why is that so important? Because a lot of the disconnect sometimes when we feel we're uncertain, sometimes we don't feel like we know what we want, it comes from placing so much of our desires on external factors and not on our true desires internally. So I love that you're talking about how even the mindset, what I hear when you were saying, it's the mindset of I don't need money, I don't need money, I don't need money. Trust me, I grew up very much ashamed to even talk about money. I
Mm-hmm.
myself am still healing my money wounds. And so, if we're having this conversation, it's very much for us to get more and more comfortable with these conversations. And that's where it really begins. But Shannon, I'm curious too, with all the work that you've talked about and the people you've talked about, what are some of those myths, right? We talked about like myths or those mindsets where I think people, especially social impact leaders and nonprofit leaders, I love the word you said, the secrecy language. Like, what do you think are some of these myths that we continue to tell ourselves that we can just name right now and maybe shift?
Absolutely. Number one is you can't make money in nonprofit careers. Go look at any 990 of any top nonprofit. People are making money at the top, and you deserve to make money too. And our talent is just as valuable as for profit. So I'm sick of why do we have to have a discount by working in nonprofits? Our talents are just as valuable. So I really believe in advocating for prosperous wages across our entire sector. I'm no more livable wage, prosperous wages. I want people to be able to save for their future. We already have a burnout epidemic in nonprofits, and then we have people not saving for retirement. That is a train wreck waiting to happen a decade from now of what are we going to do when our entire sector is burnt out and has no money to retire. So that is something I really want us to work on. The second myth is I'll never get paid what I'm worth. There is someone out there who believes in you. There is a job that deserves your talent. We just have to find it. And sometimes it's like if you're making a big leap, you just have to reposition yourself, reframe it, tell a different story, but it's not impossible. You can do it. And I think, another myth is just like, just telling yourself you won't achieve those things you want to achieve, whatever it is. I won't buy a house. Oh, I won't take that trip. I won't. No, you can with saving, with making those strategic career moves. You can do those things. And so I just think we talk ourselves out of things before we even begin. And I just want to say it's okay to dream and then we'll strategize. But let's believe in the dream first.
I love that. It's okay to dream and then we'll strategize. Yes, that's going to be one of the quotes for this. Absolutely. I love this, what you say. There is someone out there that will pay you your worth. A lot of what we're seeing right now, it is job searching season. I am mentoring people, I'm coaching people, we are in it. And
Mm-hmm.
I know you're doing a whole series on job search, which we will link also because y'all need to go over there and see it. But let's get into that nitty gritty. I know a lot of us are curious about it. We believe, I do think that a lot of us want to believe it, but to your point, it feels so scary. It's like, yes, 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 but how? And again, considering the oppressive systems that we do,
Oh,
I've
yeah.
consistently seen. So let's get into that job search. Like, what is it that you think can really support people that are seeking jobs, trying to seek a place where they are worthy? What are some things they can start doing either before they leave or in that search to really start building those muscles?
Absolutely. So, job searches sometimes take 6 to 12 months. So just being prepared, you already get that inkling. Oh, it's time for me to go, or I'm ready for that promotion, so just start, don't wait. Get started going now. So I always say, always be ready. Have your LinkedIn up to date with your experiences, your skills, your about section, your header image. Just always be ready there, because A, you never know when a job opportunity is going to come to you. And B, you never know when things are going to turn toxic and you got to get out the door. So I think that as long as you are always, your resume, your cover letter, LinkedIn are ready to go, you have this armor on you that you can handle anything that gets thrown at you, because you can always find another job that is more deserving of your talent if things sour where you're at. And we know that there is so much trauma happening in the workplace. And I don't want anybody to feel trapped.
I love this. I love the idea of an armor. We use in past conversation about protecting our peace. We think about it as a bubble of like creating protective bubbles around you when you go into a mental or emotional position, that you're a little nervous about. I love the idea of creating a like financial armor of resilience to really help you to make decisions. And I want to name something that's really important when we are thinking, right? And this is really important in our healing, and especially in regards to burnout. We are consistently told to do the things that help us with our self-care, to help us with getting better, go out and search for that job, go out and do these things that will just fix things, right? And let's just be honest, when you are in a deep state of burnout, when you are in a deep state of pain or toxic work environment, whatever the situation that you are, it is going to be so much harder for you to be able to make the steps that, again, quote unquote, self-care, quote unquote, finding that better thing. First of all of that, I mean, that's what we're trying to debunk in this series. Well-being and self-care can look like in any form. So you do what needs to work for you. And also our bodies, and this is one of the best, like one of the best things that I learned that I love, is our body can't get into a place of creativity, can't get into a place of doing, can't get into a place of action if it is burnt out, if you're in survival mode, because your body is just trying to do the best it can. So the reason why I say all of this is just like people say, try to go to therapy before you're in crisis, because when you're in that crisis, it's so much harder to absorb all the advice. Same thing with this. What I'm hearing about this armor that we can create, if we can spend a little bit of energy and putting in the time into our LinkedIn and our resume and our other tools early on, when we feel pretty stable before we go into a place of crisis, and then you're just trying to figure it all out. If you know that you have these things on standby already, then it makes it a little bit easier when we're stepping into that, okay, no, now this is like ground zero time. We need to go.
Yeah, it's time to flee the burning building. Exactly. And this is also why I have my dream job coaching package, because sometimes people do need that extra help. To what kind of job do I want next? Or I want to make that big shift. How do I reframe? Or, how do I heal while I perform in a job search? That is really hard. And a lot of times it's happening at the same time. And we don't really have the tools. We don't really have the language. First off, no one was taught to be good at interviews. So there's so much learning and skill building and just being able to perform as your best self in a job search. But if you add on burnout, trauma, people are in lawsuits, there's a lot that happens when you're leaving a job, especially if it's been really harmful. And so having a coach alongside you to do the healing and be able to shine in a job search, that's why I started doing it. I just wanted to serve people and help them get out of that and get into something that is like really fostering their talent, and they feel their best self.
And it is possible. Can we just name it? I
Yeah,
think a
it's
lot of,
possible.
right? It's really, and my heart goes out to you if you're in that space right now, if you're in that toxic environment, or you just feel really stuck. Like, first, let's normalize it. It's normal. If you're a heart-centered person who cares deeply, it's really easy for us to get pulled into our work and to want to do our best and to want to give it our all, and also there's a different way. There's another way where you can be in a place that is going to value, that is going to find your worth and respect you, you. And you can also do the thing you love. And you can also be excited. And you can
And you
also
can get
have a
paid
lot.
now.
And you can get paid well. Let's have that. Let's make that happen. I think we're both really trying and make that happen for people. So let's talk about that. Getting paid well. How do we prepare ourselves for these very scary negotiations?
Oh, I know.
Please.
As a culture, we are taught to be afraid to talk about money, that it's taboo, that it's secret, that it's shameful. And I think that's been part of my journey of adulthood to be like, but why? And when I started knowing what my friends were making and I started sharing my salary with them, we all rose up together. And I would say, as a white woman, it's very important to share your salary with your colleagues of color and help them, advocate with them, for them together to raise everybody up, because you know that there is a pay discrepancy. You should just expect it. And it's our responsibility to work together. There's no need for that pay discrepancy. So we have to work together to solve that. So absolutely all of that. And I think, getting ready for these pay conversations is just, it's a collaboration. You're coming in to solve a problem together. Either it's a promotion and raise, or it's a new salary. And it's like, hey, we want to work together to get to this number that's going to make everybody happy. And I want to be here. I want to bring my best talents, but I also want to be compensated fairly for the skills and experiences that I'm bringing to this. And so kind of changing that mindset of that, we're actually working together at it, and if they say no, you got your armor ready. You could go find someone who will pay you that. And I really do believe that, obviously within reason, you want to be doing normal jumps, not like huge, crazy jumps, and that's where the research comes in. There's not a lot of salary data out there. So the best way to actually know what is kind of a consistent range in your region is actually to look at job announcements and to see what are similar titles in your region. What are they paying? What's that salary range? And it's like, I'm way below that range. Okay, I need to get farther up in there. How do I find a job that's mid or to the high level of that range? And so that's what I recommend. And that's part of that research, that you always are getting those job announcements emailed to you, because you need to know if you're falling behind. If you're not getting those raises at work, or you're getting very small COLA raises, you're getting behind inflation. And then that has a cumulative effect on what your net worth will be and what you can save for retirement. Because, or else then you do have to make a really ambitious leap. And sometimes those take longer. Those might be a year-long job search instead of a 6 months job search. So that's why I want people to really think about cultivating their career consistently. And that, they're always thinking about, am I in the right position? Am I being paid the right amount? What do I need to do to curate that, to make sure that my financial health is at the level it needs to be for this stage of my life?
I love that. I love that. That sounds like we're in a abundance mindset versus a scarcity mindset and the reason why I say that, for those of you who don't know these words, but it's when we are in a scarcity mindset, it's always coming from a place of lack. And so if we're going into a salary conversation, or, what if you're doing an incredible job and your boss comes up to you and goes, I want to promote you. I want to give you that. And that's happened to me. And they come and tell me, they give me a number. I'm just so grateful for any little bit more. I didn't even think to, oh, wait, but how is someone in that position getting paid in another organization? Or I'm at this many years into my career, at this amount of experience, like where does that number that I can be at? And so if instead of coming out of I need this much to make ends meet, and this is just enough, versus the abundance mindset that it can say, oh no, this is my worth, this is my value, this is the clear data that also shows where someone like me with my skill set will be, then I can attract and I can ask for more. And it's okay to maybe want that more. And think about it from a space of the more security and stability that we have, the more that we can continue to support people in our community,
Yes.
because we can come from it from a regulated place, knowing that we're okay. So this is, oh, really, really, really rich, Shannon. Thank you so much. Okay, so then let's be honest, right? We love this. We got our armor on. We got all of our data. We got all of our things. We go out there. We got ourselves mentally ready to have this conversation. We have this scary conversation. And then our manager says, I'm so sorry. We just can't do it. We don't have the budget. We're just not at that place. We can't offer you this. Shannon, what do we do? What is that place that, again, very normal and does happen, and that has nothing to do with you?
Absolutely. This happens all the time. And we know that there's a lot of tight budgets in nonprofits right now since the pandemic. So this is a normal scenario. And at that point, you've got your answer. So if you want to make that amount of money, you have to go find a new job. You know, you've worked as far as you can at this current organization. And so if you're like, hey, I need this amount of money to achieve this, this, and this in my life, then that's when your job search begins. And some points of your life, money is more important than others. At some points, title, creative freedom, all, work-life balance and, 4-day work week, all these different things. And that's why I work with my coaching clients in the beginning on what are the things that are actually non-negotiables for you right now.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes money is it, but sometimes it's flexibility of time. But once you know that, you know what offers to say no to, which is really important. I don't want anybody to take a crappy offer, I want you to accept a really good offer that feels that it aligns with your inner value. And then also, I don't want people to feel trapped in a job because they said no doesn't mean that you have to stay. And you have the freedom to go find something else that does align with what you're looking for right now.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Wow. I love that. And that's how we reclaim our worth. That's
Yeah.
how we get to choose. Like, there's so much that's out of our control. It's true. But the little bit that is in our control is how we choose, who we choose to, I always say, who we choose to give our money to, that's our power. And
Yes.
then also how we choose to reclaim that for ourselves. And it is scary. I'm not saying it's not. That's why I love, thank you, Shannon, for advocating for coaches. I believe so much in coaches and community to also be with you on this journey when you're feeling like, oh, well, that just means no, means that I can't do it. That's not true. It very much is. And I want to name something. I was listening to a conversation last week with We All Grow's Elevate platform. They had a conversation with a Latina billionaire, and she was just giving all her insight. I was like, oh my goodness, this is so fascinating. And she was saying one of the things she named was getting comfortable with denial, getting
Oh, I
comfortable
love
with
that. I just got
no,
goosebumps.
right?
Yeah.
I was sitting, I was like, oh no, wait, hold on. And she was saying, what is for us will be for us. The denial, not getting the client, not getting the job, not getting the position, things that is normal. It's going to happen. So the earlier we get more comfortable, and the more we get more comfortable with the no, and knowing that it has nothing to do with us and our self-worth, it wasn't us, it wasn't the time, I wasn't aligned, and that's okay. So now what? Right? Being able to come back and say, okay, thanks for the no. Now what? What's next? And just like having that mindset, that I've been sitting with that all week. Just, you're right. This is part we've said no, but if we want it, we believe in it. And this is why building our worth is so important. When we know and believe in ourselves, we know no is going to stand in the way. We will find what's important for us.
Absolutely. And I think another kind of dirty word in the nonprofit space is ambition. And I want my clients to
Mm-hmm.
be ambitious because I think ambition is believing in your worth and not doubting it for a second. And so, absolutely, when you're ambitious, you do get some no's because you're trying to do big things. But I believe you could do it. And you
Mm-hmm.
might have to go through a few no's to get to the right yes. And also, you might say no. I
Mm-hmm.
totally empower people to withdraw from a job search that if your instinct is saying, uh-oh,
Mm-hmm.
usually right. And if you are being mistreated in a job search, what's it going to be like when you're there?
Mm-hmm.
You'll learn a lot about your future boss in a salary negotiation, which is
Mm-hmm.
why I think you should always negotiate a little something in your offer, because it's also a test. Because
Mm-hmm.
is this person going to advocate for you once you get in the door? If they won't even give you $3,000 more, they're probably not going to advocate for a raise or promotion. And is
Yes.
that a place you want to be that's not going to
Yeah.
invest in your growth? These are real questions to ask.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Absolutely.
yeah.
We're getting so much love in the chat. Thank you,
Yeah.
Beatriz. I love this. Getting comfortable with a no. Yes. Thank you, Beatriz. Absolutely. And this is so important. Something I'm always telling my clients, especially on the job search, is you are interviewing them as much as they are interviewing you. And being very careful of building those muscles of identifying things in the interviews, not just the questions that you're asking them, but how they're treating you in the interview.
Mhm.
You know, are they respecting your time? Have they canceled an interview process, an interview 5, 6 times? And that tells you something, right? We always have grace. Like I always invite grace and empathy because life happens, and that's super fair. And also, if they're, disrespecting your time, disrespecting you just in the job application, just in the interview process, if they don't have enough time to even get on a phone call and answer questions about your salary, about your benefits that everyone knows are fundamental to a job search, aren't willing to have that conversation about negotiations. And the big one, don't even share the salary range on the job description. These are big, big, big
Criminal.
things.
Like, come on.
Like
I
this
have
is
to know if this is going to fit within my life goals right now. That is just a basic.
basic, absolutely basic. And so these are things, if you're in a job search right now, if you're trying to identify, I love what you named earlier, Shannon. If you're just trying to heal and take care of yourself because you just came out of a toxic work environment and you're trying to figure out how to move into a new one, again, the burnout crisis right now is very real. It's normal for you to be scared to step into another environment. I've been there. Many of us have been there. And so these are ways that you can help think about, assess that organization outside of just what we're seeing here of, what's on Glassdoor and what's on here. Those are great tools, but the conversations in the interview process is really big. Any other things like that for you, Shannon, that you tell your clients to look out for in a job search that can tell you a lot about the culture?
Well, I think, that's why we spend a lot of time really focusing at the beginning on what kind of job do you want next and what kind of culture do you want next?
Mm.
Because, different environments have different cultures. So, say you're coming out of a place where you could never take a vacation and your boss would guilt you. I mean, I had a boss that guilted me for taking Thanksgiving off. So, yeah, I mean,
Red flag.
we've all had wild bosses in the past. So, say you're coming out of that. I could never take a vacation. My boss would always guilt me. So, a little trick I like to tell people is, you're sitting down in an in-person group interview or you're on Zoom and just, casually chit chat. And when was everybody's last vacation? And if someone's like, "Oh,
Mm.
I just got back from 2 weeks from Spain, blah, blah, blah," and our people are like, "Oh, what's a vacation?"
Mm.
Then you
Wow,
know
I love that.
that that's not the right place for you. But you have to have your list of like, what's your 3 things that you really wanna make sure? Like, in some jobs, it's like, "Okay, I really wanna have creative control in this job. I didn't like being just bound by whatever, this rigid style guide." And so
Mhm.
you have to think about what are those very specific things you're looking for. I really wanna manage a team. I'm ready. I wanna manage a team. And so really honing in on that because you could accept any job. There's always going to be a job you could take. But is it
Mhm.
the job that you want right now for your personal and professional growth and your financial well-being? Those are the main
Mhm.
questions we ask.
Oof, I love that. I love that so much. We have another great comment in the chat. Veronica, thank you so much. She says, such an important insight as you're negotiating an interview process, especially since sometimes we're eager to get the role, we may overlook these yellow and red flags. Yes, absolutely. And if y'all have any other yellow, red flags that you're looking at for, please add them in the chat. We really need to share this wisdom with each other because a lot of us are on this hunt trying to find that supportive place, and this is how we continue to learn and find that for each
Absolutely.
other. So I love this. We've talked a lot about the individual responsibility that we can each do, but you know, Shannon, it is much more than just us.
Oh, yes.
So let's transition a bit to the organizational and the systemic responsibility that these organizations can take. That what is it? So we're on the hiring side. We've all done the best that we can. We're taking all these great tips. Okay, but now you're a manager. You're the position in power. You're in HR. What is it, Shannon, that you think that managers, hiring managers, can keep in mind as they are going through this process?
Absolutely. And I train hiring managers as well. There's a lot of abusive hiring practices out there. I'd love to eliminate all of them. I'm getting to each of you. I think the most
Watch
important
out.
thing as a manager and leader is, yes, you're here to hit your KPIs and your outcomes, but I think the most important thing is that you're here to foster the long-term career growth of your staff. I'm literally mentoring 3 former staff right now to get a new job, and that will be forever. Forever, I will help them excel in their career because I believe in their growth. And I also, because I'm comfortable talking about money, I know that I need to be increasing their salary every year. Or if that's not possible, I'm advocating for bonuses, maybe a retention bonus, an annual bonus, a spot bonus, whatever I can do. And if I don't have any of those, then I'm going to try and give them more time. Can I give them more PTO? Can I just give them more, time off, hours here and there when they need it? Whatever I can do to offer them, but not just expecting they're going to do the same job for the same amount of money and time every year. We have to give back in a way, and we have to think about how we can advocate. And I think a lot of managers are scared to advocate. And they may not have a great relationship with their boss. So that's the other elephant in the room. But I think that we are paid more because we have the responsibility to advocate for our staff. And so I take that really seriously, and I teach hiring managers that. And also, when you are in a hiring process, you are starting staff retention right then. So you better be respecting your staff throughout that process and the negotiation, because if they come in and they feel like they were lowballed, how long are they going to stay? You know that. I tell hiring managers, if there's a range, pay the top of the range always. What do you got to lose?
I love that. Right. You already were advocating for it. You already separated the funds. So I love that. See?
And you feel good coming in at the top of the range. You're like, oh, yeah. All right.
I did that.
You're like, wow, why did they not pay me that extra $2,000? What's wrong with me? And are you going to perform well? No. Yeah. It's not worth it. Just pay the extra $2,000. Pay the top of the range.
I love that so much. So I have thoughts, but I really want to know from you, Shannon. Okay, I like you named the dynamic between maybe the hiring manager and their boss, right? They couldn't get it, whatever reason. So obviously our goal is to get the salary, get that number that we desire. But if that can't happen, how do you think there are other ways that hiring managers can show their employees that they value them, that they're worthy, if they can't do the salary?
Absolutely. So I always like to look at bonuses and then professional development funds, especially if you're an organization that has a lot of government funds. Sometimes professional development funds are easier to access by nature of how that funding is built. And so can you get them a coach? Can you send them to that conference? Can you send them to that workshop to say, I see you, that you want to grow into that manager level. And I may not have that opportunity here because we're a really small organization, but I want to help you get the professional development you need. So if and when you feel ready for that, I've helped to prepare you. I've given you the stretch projects you need and the professional development and any other resources I can, connected you to my network. Hey, you're interested in being an annual fund manager? Here, meet my friend who's a really successful one. Whatever I can do to foster their career. And guess what? That helps retain your staff.
Yeah.
That helps with staff retention while also being honest. And my staff, I always create, just this safe place of honesty. If someone comes to me and they say, I actually am thinking I'm ready for that next step. And I say, I may not have that position here, but let me help you get it. And it makes the transitions easier internally on the team. I don't know why there's so much secrecy even amongst people that have good relationships with managers and team members, it's just this world of secrecy. And it's like transitions are normal.
Mm-hmm.
It's okay.
Yeah. What's that fact now? Like it's normal for this generation to have like to be switching jobs between 3 to 4 years. It's
Yeah.
something like that. Like I like that. It's not, and what I continue to hear with how you talk about this, it's you're centering the human. You're
Yeah.
centering the person. And obviously, especially if you're a leader, you want the company to do well, you want the organization to do well. And also, that doesn't need to come at a sacrifice of the human beings that are doing the work. Because the stronger that the more value, the more worthy that the employees and your team feel in doing this work, the better work they'll do, the
Yeah.
stronger your organization will be. So how about we support our employees to feel valued and loved and supported and it while they're there so they can do the best job they possibly can. And then I mean, maybe you'll be lucky. Maybe they'll want to continue to stay and not want to go run for the hills. But if we're continue to looking past that, the human being, and just focusing on profit margins,
Mhm.
all these rates that are important to understand and know. But if we focus on the individual, those will come. I always say that to people, like when we're in a place of integrity, all of the other numbers, the revenue, all of that's going to come because you are attracting it. It's going to just come.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And so Donita's something really special here. Hi, both. Hola, Donita, our dear friend. Getting back to the dreaming part. So many women of color, especially, have been denied the opportunity to dream. The moment we start to make more than our parents did, we get the message that it should be enough. And we have to encourage each other to dream bigger. Yes, Donita, thank you so much. I was just speaking to someone really special, and I was trying to understand their lived experience in this work for an upcoming program I'm putting together. But something that they said that I thought was really special when I asked about their organization, they said, my manager is constantly looking out for me, even when I haven't thought about it and I haven't thought about a professional development program or opportunity or a salary raise. They've thought about it before I did for myself.
Mm.
And this is really, really important because especially when you have employees of color, employees from marginalized backgrounds, many times we do not have these muscles. This is why I'm having this conversation. We do not have these muscles or even mindsets to even think we're worthy of asking for something more. So do not wait for your employee to be the person to come up to you asking for this. Think about, what is it that I can do to make my employees the strongest, most valued, best version of themselves? What is my role in that? Because I love what you said, Shannon. You're getting paid for this. You are in the position, whether you like it or not, or you signed up for it. If you said, well, you did sign up. You said yes, and you signed the contract.
You did sign the offer
You
letter.
did
Yes.
sign that offer letter. That is you saying, yes, I am taking the responsibility to not only advocate for me and the business and the success of the company, but I'm also thinking about the success of my employees. And that's, I think, a big thing that, I think that should be in bold on contracts. Like, I'm signing for the success of my employees.
Absolutely. And owning your power. You have
Mhm.
power in this situation. You can go talk to the CEO or the board or whoever and advocate for your staff. And most of the time, you have nothing to lose.
Mhm.
And so it's like working through those fears and mindset shifts for managers as well. Because
Mhm.
absolutely, if your staff is coming to you asking for a raise, then you did something wrong too, because you should be looking at their growth. You should be helping them grow into that next level. You should be thinking about, is this the year for them to step into that? Do we need a little bit more time? How can I give them those projects to show people higher up than me that they're ready to? Because if you want to grow someone into a manager role and they've never done a project management, give them a really visible project to manage so that when you go to your boss, they're like, yeah, they did such a good job on that. They are ready. And that's you working all the time to grow your staff. And I think that managers need to spend more time on that instead
Mhm.
of just, oh, let me get my KPIs, let me get my goals and oh, my relationship with my higher ups. It's like, yeah, but are you bringing everybody with you?
Mhm.
And are you setting them up for the long? I mean, I hope that all my staff grow their salary faster in their career than I did. And
Mm.
that means that I've done my job to help mentor them and give them the tools and resources they need to get to wherever they want to go within whatever time frame they want.
Yes, yes. And let's use the things we can't control the way that our companies measure success,
Yeah.
right? There's going to be always a KPI. If you're a hiring manager, you're always going to have a KPI you need to meet. But this is why I advocate so much for HR teams to always put a human KPI on their
Yes.
list. One of my mentors, John Cabarro, always talks about that the human index, the human growth. Like organizations can grow, can grow their human beings within a company. They don't need to. I like what you said, that if they have a goal, right? He talked about this in our live. If you have a goal of wanting to own your own business one day, you can build entrepreneur skill sets within an organization. Doesn't mean you're going to just fly away or leave right away, but you can continue to build the skill sets that person wants within while they're still with you. And that again is centering the human being. But I'm a big advocate of using the systems to your advantage. Use KPIs to benefit you. One of
Yeah.
my first managers always told me KPIs shape behaviors. So if you want your managers, you want the people, CEOs, listen, please, CEOs, if you want your employees to change their behaviors, you want them to be a more human-centered organization, then create KPIs, create metrics, especially tied to salary, that are going to be connected to the success of maybe the well-being of your employee, maybe the growth, the professional growth, have a communications KPI, whatever it is, but something that isn't just connected to profit and revenue, but also connected to the success of the employee. And that, that's going to quickly guarantee that people are going to be focused on that, because if it's tied to their salary, they know that they have to find a way. They have to find a way to make it happen. And that's really important.
Yeah, like one I would love to see as a KPI for managers is your team, are all your team members taking PTO?
Yes, I was just thinking
If
that.
they're not, there's a problem there.
Mm-hmm.
And you need to be encouraging them to use that time.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
Are
Those
they
are
coming to
really
work
simple
sick?
things.
That's a problem. To use your sick time,
Yeah.
heal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Those are such easy KPIs. You can add it in. Add it to AI if you don't want to find the words.
Yeah. And I wanted to add one more thing that a job seeker, because we had some questions about kind of what questions job seekers can ask, but about to be able to see if this place is going to invest in you. Again, when you're sitting down casually, how long have each of you been here? And if someone's been like, I started as an intern and now I'm this, and then I grew into this and I switched teams, I came onto this team, ding, 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 ding. This is a great place for you. If everybody's new or, you'll get a sense. But is this a place? Because there are times in your career you need to have the right boss and the right position to help you grow.
Yes.
This is a growth role. And so you don't want to be stuck in a place where no one's going to invest in teaching and training you and helping you grow, because that will stunt your long-term growth. So really thinking, assess them.
Mm-hmm. And take advantage of every part of the process. Especially, I mean, I know we do a lot of virtual interviews now, but if you are in person, like talk to the receptionist, talk to
Absolutely.
the intern. I mean, you don't have to have a full-blown conversation, like a full interview with them, but just little things like, so how do you like it here? What little things like that, those are ways for you to get a sense, because let's be honest, when you're in that interview room, if you're lucky, you'll get the really honest, maybe a little bitter employee that will tell you the truth, but almost always.
Yes.
You'll have everyone be on their best behavior because they know they need that position or XYZ. And so you want to also talk to all different types of people and also value the different types of levels, right? Interns, admin, employees, receptionists, all of them are just as valuable and have such incredible understanding of the culture as well, because they're many times in the background trying to manage all the chaos of everyone else. So very much honoring that. Thank you for naming those other questions. So, oh, I'm so sad. I can't believe we're getting to this time. I can't believe how fast our time went, but we knew this was going to happen. Thank you, everyone, for your engagement. If there's any final questions, please add it in the chat before we hop off. I did want to ask one of my final questions I ask all of our guests, which is connected to con fuerza. So living a life con fuerza is about reclaiming our inner power to live in alignment with our values. How are you choosing to live a life con fuerza? And what does living a life con fuerza, which in Spanish means with strength, mean to you, Shannon?
Well, this is what I'm doing right here with my business is I really want to help people heal those money wounds and step into their value and find a job that deserves their brilliance. And I don't want people trapped in traumatic work situations. Everybody deserves to feel like their best self at work and their talents are valued and that they can just grow in any way that they want. And so that is what I'm doing through Monsoon Leadership in my coaching practice. And so I'm just feel very lucky to be able to do this work because I love helping people just live a better life. That's what we're here to do.
Oh, thank you so much, Shannon. See, and we are so lucky for it that we get to witness and experience your wisdom and support. So thank you so much. How can we support you in your journey, in your organization, your company?
Well, I love to do anonymous surveys. So I did one back in January of an anonymous salary survey. We're going to do it again in January, which was very enlightening. And right now I have one, which is an anonymous job search survey. So just about your last job search. So you don't have to be active in one, but I want to get a sense of how long did it take? Were you one of the final two candidates and you didn't get the job? And any kind of little fun stuff like that, because I want to normalize the awkwardness of a job search. There's so much secrecy and shame of, oh, this is only me. This has only happened to me. It probably hasn't. We have things to fix in the hiring process. So I'm running this anonymous survey until Labor Day. It's in honor of Labor Day, our labor. And then I'm going to share the results and just hopefully create transparency around this process. And then I'm going to use that when I'm training hiring managers as well. So I'm just really excited to get everybody's experiences.
I love that. Thank you so much. Please, please, please go there. We need the data. Like I said, we're all shifting our cultures to be more human-centered, but in this moment, we are very data-centered. We are very numbers-centered, and so we can use these numbers to support our goals. And so the more we have this, the more that Shannon, myself, and other leaders that are trying to do this work can have to advocate for all of you and like shift these systems that we need. So yes, and I am so excited. All of this survey is available on our resource library. So for those of you that don't know about this library, please take a moment. I just am going to briefly share my screen so you can see. Oh, here we go. So this is can you see my screen?
Yeah, we can see
Okay,
it.
beautiful. So this is the Wisdom Wednesday library. If you haven't already gone on there, please, please go on there. You can see all of the incredible conversations we've had already. And each of the pages, if you click into it, you can see all of the wonderful resources. Here is the surveys that we're talking about. Here it is. So please fill it out. Give Shannon your insights. Here's another interview that Shannon did on equal pay gap and there on the pay equity, excuse me. And these are some of the data points that I shared earlier about the payday. You'll also see some other resources for mental health, some somatic practices, and all the recordings of our lovely conversations. And for those of you that are available to join us next week, we'll actually have we'll actually have the privilege to be joined by Jung Park. He is an incredible coach and also lecturer at the University of Colorado. So as we're talking about as we're talking about data and numbers. I know a lot of you, especially if you're in a position of power, are like, yes, this is really great, this is lovely, but how do I create a KPI to make this happen? How do I measure harmony? How do I measure well-being? How do I measure these things that I can advocate for within my organization? So that's exactly what we're going to be talking about. We're going to talk about how you can take the information that and the goals that you have and create measurements. And he's going to be sharing a really cool resource that he actually created to be able to advocate for all of this. So please join us next week back here on LinkedIn Live, and we'll be able to showcase that and learn more about these tools. But for now, thank you so much, Shannon. I appreciate you. Any final words or anything else before we hop off and say goodbye to everyone?
Thank you so much. And I just want to say to everyone, you deserve everything that you want in your life. And I like that. Dream first, strategize second. So,
Yes,
and we
I
all
love
believe in you. So
Thank you so much. Thank you, everyone, for joining us today. Sending you lots of love and warmth. And we hope to see you next week. Thank you again, Shannon. Appreciate you. And we'll see you all
you too. Thank
soon.
you so much.